It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Earlier we took a report there about Nigerian borrowing, and of course we saw reactions from residents of Bauchi State speaking about endless foreign borrowings without any positive impact on the livelihood of the people, which is indeed begs the question as to whether what the government is indeed borrowing all of this money for a major cause for concern. Do we even need to borrow in the first place? We'll also look at that as a big question begging for a very huge answer there. Let's also take this report about the climate change awareness. A group in Adamawa State is advocating for public campaign for environmental protection.
6 years ago in Yola, a powerful idea was born. Young people, teachers, families, and entire communities uniting to protect the planet. That idea grew into the Eco Clean Active Initiative, now a strong voice against tree cutting for charcoal and the ongoing degradation of the environment. The group champions tree planting and recycling, turning waste into wealth in communities that embrace cleanliness. Their impact has been both visible and enduring.
Now it is so clear that we've been seeing how the environment is being devastated by the activities of pollution. And one of the way or means that we can contribute is what the Eco Initiative is doing. To our students, they were in our school, they educate and enlighten the student of the importance, where they planted trees. And by so doing, I think it gives the student the platform, knowing the importance of these trees and also involving them in the activities.
Waste used to be of burden to us, but when they went there, they make us to understand that waste can be a source of income to us.
More especially now we are in climate change, a lot of things are changing. As you can see, so we need to support each other, more especially in tree plantings in our environment. As you can see, the recent flooding and other things, all this is because due to our drainage. So we need to work, support the initiative to make sure we have a healthy environment.
Officials say the Eco Clean Active Initiative has gone beyond awareness to inspire real action that mobilizes thousands for tree planting, sanitation drives, and climate education.
Their campaign is in the right direction. Unnecessary waste disposal around, talk about climate change, talk about the initiative for planting trees. In fact, it's a very good development.
Here in the States, we have deforestation, we have hot temperature, and you know, these trees will help to address these challenges. Because when we have trees, we have life, we have oxygen around us. So the hot temperature that we have, the deforestation, the climate, the floodings and the rest, this will be addressed by the trees that we have planted so far in the States.
Through partnership with local leaders and organizations, the initiative has taken climate change discussions from boardrooms to the streets, making environmental protection a shared responsibility for all. Gibson Akogu, Trust TV News, Yola.
Indeed, a lot is happening there to control the environmental degradation in that part of the country. The climate change awareness is being created there by that group of people. Now, moving away from that now, we'll look at a very big one that is expected to happen today. The Monetary Policy Committee meeting is meeting today for 302nd time there, and of course a new decision is expected today given the recent macroeconomic indices following some mixed expectations among analysts as the Central Bank of Nigeria convened for the MPC meeting. There are so many who are saying that to decide on the direction of the credit to the economy, a lot of factors need to be looked into. Of course, since this government came on board, the rate has remained on the upward trajectory. In the last 2 or 3 meetings, the MPC did keep that rate unchanged, but there are some likelihood today that we may likely see some changes. One of the factors that analysts say may influence CBN decisions today is the new GDP number, which was released on Monday, and it shows a 4.23% growth for Nigerian GDP. First time we're having this in 4 years. There's also inflation rate, which has moderated for the past 4 months as well. Analysts also expect that a lot will happen there with regards to the inflation numbers. There is going to be part of the consideration. FX stability is also there, and of course, FPI is talking about foreign portfolio investment inflow, which into the capital market, which in recent times amounted to about 1.3 trillion naira there in the last 7 months of the year. Quickly, let's look at the inflation numbers in Nigeria so far. If you look at how it has been so far in 2025, in January it was at 24.50%. After the GDP number was rebased, we must, not take our eyes off that. It was about 35% when it was rebased, and it came down to 24.50% in January. In February, it went down to 23.18% on a decline. In March, it climbed up back to 24.523%, but in April, it went down to 23.71%. In May, it came down as well to 22.97%, decreasing. In July, it went down as well to 22.22%. In July, it went down to 21.88%. And of course, in the month of August, inflation number dropped to 20.12%. Indeed, the eyes is on the federal government target of 15% in 2025. Some are even saying that before the end of the year, which is very, very unlikely, that inflation number may hit a single digit, which is still very, very unlikely. Now, let's put some of this into context. Now, I'm being joined in the studio by the President CEO, Rock Global Investment Network. He is actually based in London, but he's right here in Nigeria, and he's with us in the studio, Dr. Sam Omale. Glad to have you on Trust.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
We appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
If MPC is meeting today, and of course, whatever decision that they take is going to bound on the economy, what are your likely expectations?
You know, last time I was here, it was about the date again.
Absolutely.
At that time, I advised that it should be left as it was,
unchanged.
Definitely not increase. I will emphasize now, well, like you said, there are certain things the Central Bank and monetary authorities are looking at before they arrive at the MPC rates. They don't just bring it from their heads. So they have the numbers. They know where the inflation is. They know where the exchange instability is. And there are other factors like the global and domestic economic outlook, the growth outlook. So they see from their prism, they see what is the economic outlook like, economic growth, what is it going to look like? Domestic and international. They also looking at things like the commodity prices like crude and other important commodities like gold and other things. So they have the numbers. So we talking from this side and looking at what is happening. If you take inflation, for example, there are two critical aspects you are interested in: food inflation and energy inflation.
Absolutely.
These are the two
components
that impact directly on the households. So, food, how is it doing? I think it's doing well. Energy, I'm not sure, but straight away, I will advise definitely not to increase. I would advise they should reduce the rate by some minimum, well, I don't want to say, but by some point basis. They should reduce
at least 50 basis points.
Well, maybe not that high, but yes. But I want a reduction.
The reduction.
Because the classification of macroeconomic indicators are into two. The one that we judge the advanced economies with, and one we judge our country evolving, developing economies. But even on those of the Nigeria that's an economic, a developing economy, double-digit inflation is too high. We definitely have to go to single-digit. Most advanced countries, none of them have inflation higher than 4. In fact, Canada has 2%. So what are they doing that we're not doing? So what I mean is inflation should go further down. Definitely not in double digits.
Indeed, but it's what we do that will drive down inflation.
Yes.
But like now, you talk about food inflation now, which is moderating.
Okay.
But some people are saying that it's not like CBN is doing something spectacular, that it is because it's harvest season that more food is coming into the market and it's affecting the prices. But in 2 or 3 months' time, when we're back to our shell, that the inflation will continue back on the upward trajectory.
Yes, but again, they have they have the data of everything. So, yes, what is impacting on food inflation definitely is because it's harvest time. But who knows whether they have put in place, or the government has put in place, reservations, because what is happening in this country is waste. There's a lot of waste happening. If we are to conserve and preserve excess of our harvest, we have no problem. We shouldn't have any problem having hunger at all. But so much is wasted. If you go to on the streets, the heaps of mangoes and oranges and corn, heaped of trash, of things that can be preserved. There's too much consumption. There's too much food wastages that shouldn't be. You know, I grew up on the farms and we never wasted food. Every food that the one we eat on the table, so you serve what you can eat. You don't throw away food. So that culture of food preservation should be happening. We need to have granite pyramids in the north. What has happened to it? So we should be able to conserve and preserve our harvest. So if federal government is taking care of that, the fiscal authority should take care of that, then we can sustain the low rate of food inflation.
We're talking about sustaining low rate of food inflation because when we're talking about these numbers, inflation number, macroeconomic indices, NPR, and so many of them, it sometimes sound like jargons to Nigerians on the street because as far as they're concerned, as far as the naira in their pocket, I cannot, put enough food on their table. Whatever economic terms you are speaking is useless.
I agree with them. You know, there's a column I write sometimes. It's called the Roadside Economist. And Roadside Economist is to bring these numbers into real life. Like you're going to talk about loan, for example. You know, in a typical company, there's what we call a capital structure. Capital structure of a company is the sources of its finances. We have loans, we have investors coming in, and have borrowing from friends, donation from friends. Now, if an investor is coming to a company and he sees the loan portfolio is too high, he will not want to come in because you have to pay. So what Federal Central Bank is doing is to regulate the economy. Like I said, they have the data. If there's too much inflow of presence of liquidity of cash in the system, they use monetary policy instruments to regulate, to bring it down by maybe selling bonds and mopping up money from the system. And if there's tight money, they release, just like the dam, control the dam, you release, and because too much of anything will destroy the economy.
Absolutely.
So the person out there, they are looking for a steady power supply. That's what they need. That the fiscal authority should do. They need consistent food supply. That's what the fiscal authority will need. Central Bank, the monetary authority's own is to complement and to give guidelines, which the two should work together. So the bottom line is the management of the economy want growth and they want ease of life. They want improvement of life. They want price stability. In fact, the major focus of monetary authority is price stability.
Absolutely.
Because the stochastic movement of prices cannot help you to plan.
Absolutely.
You came to buy something this morning at 10 naira. You come in the afternoon, it's 11 naira. What has happened? So you can't plan.
Absolutely.
So that economic stability is what the people are looking for. They want to plan school fees, they want to plan things ahead, they don't want to come and the price has changed. That's the work of Central Bank. So all the Central Bank is doing is in the interest of the people. Like you are right, until it affects, until they know the changes in their pockets, it doesn't make sense to them.
Makes sense, exactly.
And Central Bank also should be able to explain this thing in plain languages, in plain languages. Let people get to know in pidgin, in that natural language. What is what we are doing? It's what we are doing, and it will work for it.
Like something you said, which is very striking. The fact that when inflation is when you have too much money chasing few goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in Nigeria now, it's like that definition is changing. It's not that when no money is changing, chasing anything. But what I'm trying to drive at is our credit economy. You made reference to Canada. That what are they doing to keep inflation number at less than 4% or less than 2%, about 2% or thereabout. The UK, the US, they have Germany. If you go to Germany, they have low inflation numbers, but they have a very strong credit system whereby you don't really have so much money moving in the hands of their citizens. How do we achieve that, having a very effective credit system in Nigeria?
Is discipline and more to information. Data again comes to it. You know, Nigeria was placed on CCF. There's a notorious group of countries that were placed. I think the Obasanjo took us from that place. There are countries where information on their citizens are opaque. We don't know you. We don't know your age. You don't know when you were born. You don't know anything about you. So that's the problem. The data on individuals are scarce to get. So if I'm lending you money, I want to know how old you are. I want to know your health status.
Exactly. Where you live.
Where you live. I want to know your income. That's how it works. So there's what we call a credit check. But the problem in Nigeria is that the information, the data out there are not reliable. They're not reliable.
They have multiple data.
Multiple data, multiple personalities. So how can I give you money? How can I give you money? So that's a big problem for us to be able to manage our data and to have credible information on the individual citizens. That's number one. Once that happens, then lenders are comfortable to give money out, to people who they know can repay a certain period of time. So that's a big problem. The reason why the credit situation is difficult is because financiers, lenders don't have information. If I'm lending, I need to know your health status. I need to know your age. In finance, we think someone that is 60 years old will die before people that are 30. So we don't give. So I mean, that's the thing that we look at.
Okay. Now, when you look at that and you look at our banking system, which is also where the CBN regulate, because whatever decision they take today is going to ban on it will first of all, affect the bank. The bank will equally make their own adjustment, as the case may be. If you look at our credit system and the interest rates. It's quite very, very high. If you want to go into business, you made the loan request to a bank, and when you see the interest rate is quite high, over 30% in some cases. How can businesses survive in that kind of environment? Which is, the key decision that I think the CBN should begin to look at on how to make Nigerian banking sector more effective, because many of them are not financing small businesses.
Well, you are right there, because Nigerian banks, most of Nigerian banks, their lending is short term. No economy, no business, no industries can grow on a short term borrowing. It's not possible. Because you give me money for 6 months, for 3 months, for 6 months. Before they turn around, before I go to get the thing I'm looking for, it's due to pay back.
Yes, exactly.
So that culture of short term borrowing should be stopped. And that's what the most commercial banks in Nigeria rely on that, and that means.
Is that why we're having non-performing loans?
Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
Is it this short term? The implication is what we are seeing in the GDP, which you just said is 4.2, and we're happy. No, I'm not happy about that. You know why? Because of the composition. You see, I'm looking at what is the composition of this GDP that's 4.2. 52% is in services. That's an indictment. That's a failure already.
Absolutely.
Only 8 to 9% are in production, in manufacturing. The minimum any country should make is 40%. The rest is whatever. What that means is this. If banks are borrowing or are lending to traders who are going to import something and sell tomorrow and give them money, that's the turnaround is quick. They are not lending to manufacturers, to people who with industries who need a period to get their raw materials, process them, package them, distribute them, sell them, get income. That will take months. And that's why the contribution or the composition of the GDP by the manufacturing sector is less than 10%, which is wrong. So the point I'm saying, therefore, is if the interest, and because the interest rate is high, banks are able to make more income, know that they're not staying in the market for too long. So if the interest rate is low, the incentive to do that short-term borrowing or lending will be taken out. So interest rates should be far, far, far reduced. And once interest rate is reduced, guess what happens? The investment, the other side will rise because people will rather put their money to production. If interest rate is high, there's incentive to save. So you put your money in Nigeria, it's easy to get money, and which is wrong. You just put your money in bonds and banks, and you're
treasury
getting
bills.
Exactly, I'm getting 20%, 10%, 14%. What do I need to do? I don't need to manufacture anything. So high interest rate gives incentive for excessive saving, which is antithetical, which is against economic growth. People don't realize that. Because that's why you see when there's interest rate hike, investments goes down. Capital market goes down. In Nigeria, I don't know how they're reacting to things because my observation is that whatever MPC comes out doesn't seem to have
affect the larger economy.
Yeah, so that's my problem. So if there's something we're not doing right, we're not being scientific about this, because if they lower interest rate today, I want to see the capital market go up. If they increase it, I want to see the capital market go down. They have inverse relationship. I'm not seeing that clearly, which means there's something
that we're missing. Something is amiss. Is it? I mean, the kind of economy that we run, or is it? I don't know whether
it's a personality. It's the people. You know, it's the people, and it's a culture. These people know the language. They have the technical skills. You see, but when the culture comes in, and that culture is a recent thing. When a culture of, it's everywhere, by the way. When a culture of greed and get rich quick comes in, they will manipulate the system. But what saves the developed countries is the law. There's what we call insider abuse. There are all kinds of unethical practices all over the world. You see, but you'll be caught, and you'll be prosecuted, you'll be punished. So there's a consequence. But the problem with the third world is that there are no consequences for actions. So somebody who have been defrauded, who have defrauded the people, are walking away, are joining policies that are doing something. So
do you think the system is in a way skewed in a way that it can actually favor some group of people?
Yeah.
Whereby even if a monetary decision is being taken, they have to consider interests of some personalities. Do you think that is exactly what's happening?
I don't understand your question. I'm not. The central bank is not making decision said this will favor these people. What is happening that central bank takes a decision purely holistically on economic basis for macroeconomic financial stability of the system. They are very professional in doing that. The problem is about the manipulation of that decision. So which is the problem? The central bank has nothing to do with that. It's the fiscal authority that has to put some ethical fraud policy in place. What is Nigerian fraud policy? I think they developed one before, but what is it? What is a fraud in Nigeria? What defined as a fraud? I don't know. So until we know these policies are so important in any place because that guides your activities.
Absolutely.
And that's for the fiscal authority to hamper. Central bank does not go out saying, oh, I want to. No, they have a holistic view of the macroeconomic view of the market, of the system.
Indeed. Another thing that will also influence CBN decision today is the FX markets. There seems to be some stability, even though the value of Naira is still very, very weak. Some have even said that Naira is still overvalued at what it is. I read a report recently by a firm which said that Naira is overvalued by 26%. Which means that it should be trading at about 2,500 to the US dollar. But now there is also stability in the foreign reserves. The reserve has been growing over $41 billion. But there was also a report last week that the CBN released $574 million to support the stability that we're seeing in the FX market? How will you juxtapose between the FX reserve being on the high side and the CBN also defending the Naira unofficially?
Well, okay, like I said, the foreign exchange stability is one of the things the Central Bank look at. But the major factor that determines foreign exchange is the trade balance, payment balance, the trade imbalance and imbalance, which means, are you earning foreign exchange more than you are expanding? So if you are importing, if the value of your import is higher than the value of your export, you are already in deficit. Your currency will go down. It's simple law, demand and supply. If you don't need a lot of foreign exchange, Naira will be strong. But if you need more foreign exchange than Naira will fall down. And in this country, as far as I know, we need foreign exchange for medicals, schools,
for imports.
For everything. So things that we can do within the system, like there are certain things we shouldn't be importing at all.
Do you see a conspiracy against the Nigerian economy? Because sometimes I also wonder why the demand for dollar is so high in a country where dollar is not even supposed to be a legal tender.
Exactly. I think many years ago, you see, when they brought, it's what we call law of unexpected consequences. There are some actions of Central Bank or of government authorities that have good intentions, but the outcome,
the implementation.
For example, when the idea of domiciliary account came in, I don't see many countries do. In fact, I don't see countries that do that. UK don't do that. UK, even if I have a dollar account and you are paying into that dollar account, the first thing they will do is whatever amount that comes in will be converted to pounds first. And if you are taking it out, it will be converted back to pound before you get it. This one, you wholesale bring dollar in and put in your account. It's not done anyway. So what people are doing now is the commoditization of currency, meaning people earn money in quantum in Naira and go and buy forex and put it in the account. No country does that. I hear some school fees, some fees are charged in dollars. Some rents are paid in dollars.
Yes.
Where else in the world does this happen? I don't have a clue. If you go to US and bring out the pound note, they don't understand it. Even banks don't know it. Banks don't even know pound. They know dollar. So we have to transact our business, and I think I'm happy with Dangote is transacting in Naira now. That is a leap. That's something that can help stabilize the Naira. So if anybody coming to our country, we said we deal with Naira here. But we're not promoting the Naira.
Absolutely. So is it that we have lost faith in the Naira?
Because of the value? It's all down to corruption. You see, it's all down. When the Naira was first of all devalued in 1980 something, I think by Babangida, Naira was, it became to $1 to 4 Naira, 4 Naira to $1. You see, and what happened is that the people that are in the system who have knowledge of this will go and buy a lot of foreign exchange. They won't happen. So this insider abuse, these few cliques that are trading on currency is a problem. And the only way to discourage that is to ensure that they don't have value for that transaction, meaning that every transaction here is done in Naira. Politicians and these guys who want to give money out because the dollar is slimmer, is smart, they go and change this quantum. Absolutely. But if they are to be carrying this Naira in, Ghana must go.
They won't be able to steal much.
So I think that will be for the fiscal authority to do in collaboration with the monetary authority. That Naira is our currency. Any business done internationally anywhere in Naira, then we can now agree on what rate we want to do this business. You know, if you lower your currency, you have to be better that you are exporting more than you're importing. because that way it pays you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you're a net importer,
like countries like China, Japan, and actually,
yeah. That's why they actually manipulate. They can manipulate and trade.
Absolutely.
Because they are massively exporting. So these are the things that we can do. So begin again. That comes to infrastructure, having power to produce, and that goes again to the composition of the GDP. I told you that only about 8 to 9% is contributing to the GDP, which is an abnormality for any economy that want to grow straight away.
Indeed, the highest we've had under Jonathan was 5.1 when Nigeria became the largest economy in Africa.
That GDP?
Yes, in terms of GDP growth under former President Goodluck Jonathan. But now under this administration, we're having it at 4.23%, which they are seeing it as something that is positive. But there's also a prediction that the target in 2030 is to achieve $1 trillion economy. And for us to be able to achieve that, we need an economy to grow at least 21% annually. With the kind of economy of Nigeria that you have seen and the kind of policies that has been introduced so far by this government, do you see us achieving that?
See, one thing with policy or goal is goal setting is very important, because if they don't put that in place, if you have no target, if you have no target where you are going, if you have no destination where you are going, anywhere is a destination. You have already arrived at your destination. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to point A. So until I get to point A, I have not arrived. But if I have nowhere going, I've already arrived. Absolutely. So I commend them for having that target. The next thing is therefore is what do I do to get to that place? And that's where we're getting it wrong. What do I do? It's not a matter of saying we want to grow the economy by 25% by this. How do you do it? That's what we're paying them to do for us. That will put them in offices to do for us. And that includes steady power supply, rule of law that will make me sleep well, that when I have a conflict,
you can get justice.
Exactly. Anywhere where I'm not, no investor will call it legal risk. Anywhere I'm not sure of getting justice, and I'm looking at it, I'm looking at what is coming out, I'm looking at what's coming out. So until we correct that, see, every action we take impacts on the global, on the macroeconomic level. So rule of law, steady infrastructure development, good roads. When you see the roads, when you see the port, when you see the confusion, we can't get there until we put those things in place. And when we put it in place, it will work out. Nothing is insurmountable these days.
Absolutely. And this rule of law that I talked about is a very, very big issue, because recently former President Goodluck Jonathan alluded to the fact that in any economy when there's no justice, in any country where there's no justice, cannot attract investment, which is a part of the problem that we are having. There is a complete, a loss of confidence in the judiciary and almost some other arms of government, which is a major problem. But now, going forward now, I know members of MPC will be smiling to the meeting today, looking at the macroeconomic indices in quotes. To them, it has improved. The Naira has stable. There's investment inflow into the capital market. The GDP number is on the increase. The inflation number has declined for 4 consecutive months. And would they be smiling into the meeting?
Can I talk of I heard you say inflow to the capital market.
Yes, the FPI into the capital market in 7 months, we recorded 1.3 trillion naira.
That's trading. That's not investment. People are just trading. Which trading does not add to the value of any economy. It's trading. I want to see foreign direct investment, which means I want to see somebody coming to take off the tire industry. Produce tires. I want people to go into agricultural food manufacturing. I want to go into these are the kind of products I look at, not traders who come on cycles. If I bring my pound here, by every stock traded on the capital market is called penny shares.
Absolutely.
Penny shares. No stock in Nigeria is more than $100 per share. No, the highest stock in Nigeria market. So all
none. I can agree with you that it's none.
Which means they're all penny shares. So if I come with £100, I come with £1,000, I'm mopping up everything and hit the market up and check the market. And when you guys are coming in, I'm out. I'm a trader. So when
you've made your money.
Yes.
And some of these people are portfolio traders who coming into our market with their funds, stay 2-3 months, and then take their money and go away.
I don't want to hear that inflow. That inflow is false. It does not improve on the economy. I want, like I have investment bankers in New York who are calling me, they're looking for projects in Africa. That kind of happen. So I want to bring them, meet state governors, meet people and say, okay, we want to do this project. We want to do infrastructure, we want to do hospitality, we want to do whatever. And we sit down and analyze the feasibility and the viability. We do a cash flow projection of when I'm going to recover our money. That's what improved the economy.
Long-term impact, project with long-term impact, exactly. Long-term project with direct impact on the lives of the people, which is indeed very key. But as we're about to try to wrap up the conversation now, I talk about the MPC members coming into the meeting. Right, so excited that macroeconomic indices has improved, even though the Nigerian people don't think so. What do you think should be? What kind of advice do you have for them? I know the CBN governor is your friend.
We've never actually met, but yes. They have good intentions. They have to let us know that we have good intentions. They have to also let us know that whatever temporary pains we are going through, it's a labor pain. When we deliver, we'll be fine. Then they have to also look for how can we, especially, and I'm happy with the relationship they have with the fiscal authority, because like I said, it's 50-50. They can do their own bit. They cannot, like the composition of the GDP. That's not in their control. So if they can influence the federal government, the fiscal authority by saying, hey, we are reducing the cash reserve ratio, which is very high in Nigeria, or the liquidity ratio, which is the minimum amount of cash banks should keep. You know, I studied finance, and we don't keep money. We use money to work. So when I see volume of money stocked away, it's already against my profession. So, but Central Bank is doing that because they want to preserve the inflation rate. But inflation rate also is a cost push. There's a cost element that's making inflation to go up. So if they can put this mechanism together and come down on their rates and also say, okay, GDP is high, but realistically, it's services. Services don't add what we call capital formation. They don't add anything, it's consumption. So,
or do you think the fiscal authority and the monetary authority, you know, at the beginning of the year when the president, towards the end of last year, when the president presented the 2025 budget, the inflation target was set at 15%. Then when we got to January, there was a rebasing of the CPI to use the 2019 base year, which brought inflation down to 24%. Now it's on the decline. Do you think there's more like a plan to achieve that government target of 15%?
Definitely. I mean, if they put it out...
Is it about them achieving a target or about it reflecting on the lives of Nigerians?
No, both. Both, definitely. I mean, the intention of having a lower inflation rate is to impact on the lives of Nigerians. And that can only happen if the source of that inflation is not cost. Because, if I went to buy this pin at 15, and it goes to 20, I have to look for more money. So that's where that action is inflationary already. So yes, they intend, I think so, they intend that they will achieve that so that there will be better life for the citizens of Nigeria.
But many Nigerians don't think that their life is getting better. Only recently, there's some group of workers in Ondo State are demanding for 256,000 minimum wage. According to them, the 70,000 naira minimum wage, the value is already gone.
No, government, see, what state did you call that?
Ondo State.
Okay, Ondo State, how big is Ondo State?
It's an oil producing state.
Exactly, okay. Look, if you put some transportation, luxury buses, 20, 50 of them, the cost of transportation is gone. So they don't need that 250,000. If you put electricity, if you put food,
all right.
So it's government doing something.
All right.
Because cash does not help.
All right. All right. In 30 seconds now, the decisions today, you're going for reduction?
They should reduce. I mean, that's my advice. I mean, but I don't know what they know. That's the point. I can only talk from outside the envelope.
All right.
They have the envelope. They know what is inside it.
All right.
But my gut feeling is that they should reduce
All right. All right. Dr. Sam Omale President, CEO, Rock Global Investment Network, thank you for your time on Business Daily. We appreciate your contributions.
My pleasure always. And you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.